The first video for this week and the few videos that will follow are going to be very much information only, but they are for the purposes of preparing you for the possibility of working with SketchUp Pro, which you don't need to have for this class. So don't think that you need that for this assignment. I'm going to be providing you with a model that already has this file imported into it. But I want you to see how I'm doing it, because if you want to in the future think about getting SketchUp Pro, and if you work at all with AutoCAD, I chose AutoCAD because it's a pretty ubiquitous program. If you ever work with AutoCAD, you might want to know how you can bring your plans into SketchUp and build right off of them. It's something that in the commercial world happens quite a bit, so it's really helpful to be able to know how to do this. So again, you don't have to have AutoCAD to do this. I just want to show you how this works, and you don't have to have SketchUp Pro to do this. So this video for this week, the first video, is very much just an information only kind of a thing. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to prep this file. I have an AutoCAD file open of a small little office space, and I'm going to prep this file to bring it into a SketchUp model. So the first thing I do in AutoCAD is I turn all my layers on. So I've done that already. So I've got all of these layers visible, and I can see that I've got a lot of layers I don't need. Like I've got my lighting layers and my electrical layers, my flooring, and some of the hatch layers. So really what I want to draw from is I just want to look at the layers that have to do with what I would actually see. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to start just selecting the layers that I don't need, and I'm going to isolate them. So I'm going to click on the layers that I don't need. So I don't need my floor hatch, I don't need this hatching pattern, I don't need my lights, I don't need my ceiling, and I'll probably have to do this a few times. So once I've isolated the layers I don't need, and my computer's thinking a little bit because this is a relatively heavy file, once I've selected the layers I don't need, I can now select them and just delete them and turn everything back on. So I'm going to unisolate my layers and kind of take a look at what I've got left. Okay, we'll just wait 1 second while this loads. My apologies that it's dragging a little bit. Okay, now I've got a few more layers I can get rid of, so I'm going to isolate these layers as well. I don't need the hatch layer for this. I don't need my electrical layers. I don't need my hatch layer for the wall itself. And what else can I get rid of? Probably anything that has. No, I'm going to keep the line for the stuff that's happening overhead. So I'm going to leave that for now. That's probably the last bit of what I need. So I'm just going to go ahead and select the final layers that I've just isolated. I'll wait for this bad boy to think for a second, and then I'll go ahead and select what I don't need, delete it, and now I can bring everything back. Now what I want to do is I want to, as I'm waiting for everything else to come back, now I'm going to go ahead and do an MA for Match Properties, and this is a CAD command. Okay, so I'm going to match properties, and it doesn't matter which layer I choose, I'm just choosing one at random, and I'm going to select so that everything is on the same layer. And there's a few other little things I can see now that I can get rid of, like some of these little S's in the circles. I don't need those. So I'm going to delete those as well. And I don't need my exit sign. So I can go ahead and delete that. And we're good. So I've matched all of my properties. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to purge the file by typing purge. So I want to purge everything. I want to get rid of all of the extra stuff that I don't need. So I'm just saying, no, I don't need to verify everything, and I'm letting it purge the whole file of all of this unnecessary stuff. And that's the final step before I fully close, is I'm just going to do a quick zoom extends to make sure that I don't have anything floating out in space. So I just do a quick little zoom extends, and I can see now that I've got nothing out in space. When I'm done with this, this is the kind of thing that I would file, save as, and I would save this file as something that I can see for a fact is the kind of file that I will remember when I try to import it. So I'm going to do File, Save As, and I'm going to save this to my desktop, and we're going to call this, I'm just going to call this Office underscore export. And sometimes you want to change it to AutoCAD. I always do this as a rule. I change it to AutoCAD 2004 just so it's obvious then, and I can import it into an older version of SketchUp, and then I'm going to save. That's it. We're now going to leave the world of AutoCAD behind. So this is just a quick video that hopefully will give you all the steps you need and let you understand, if you are an AutoCAD user, what you should do to your file before you bring it into SketchUp Pro.